Good morning and welcome to Incident Response Forum Europe 2020. I'm Bruce Carton, the editor of Cybersecurity Docket and Securities Docket, and I'm delighted to welcome everybody to the only conference that is focused solely on the field of incident response, and in this case, incident response issues from a European perspective. And I am joined this morning by John Stark, who is my co-organizer of this event and who will be our MC, our master of ceremonies today. Good morning, John.
Absolutely. Good morning, Bruce.
Let me give a quick introduction for John, my good friend for nearly 30 years, hard to believe, since our time together in the SEC, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission's Enforcement Division. John has been doing incident response for most of his career. He started with an 11-year stint as founder-in-chief of the SEC's Office of Internet Enforcement. Then for 5 years, he was the Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. office head of a firm called Strauss Friedberg. 20 years plus as an adjunct professor in Georgetown and Duke law schools, teaching cyber law. And now John's president of his own firm, John Reed Stark Consulting. He's written hundreds of articles on the subject of cyber. He's written a book. When I have any kind of cyber law issues, I turn to John, a world-class cyber expert. John, really grateful that you're here with us today at Incident Response Forum Europe.
Thanks, Bruce. It's great to be here. I think it's great to be here online. If there was ever a meeting in history that was more suited to do online, it's ours because the medium is, in fact, the message. Right. For those of you who are attending an IR forum for the first time, what makes this program different, you're probably wondering, first is the method of speaking. There are no PowerPoint decks, no choreographed speeches, scripted presentations, just discussion. Second, the quality of the speakers. We have exceptional speakers from both government, former government, private practice, everywhere, really the best in the world. And finally, the subject matter. As Bruce said, this is incident response, IR, from a legal and compliance perspective. And I think the Digitel platform with its interactivity allows you to chat. I encourage you to chat with one another, to ask as many questions as you want. The panels are looking forward to answering them.
Yeah, so John and I have held this event for 5 years now in DC and in Los Angeles, and now as a virtual event focused on Europe. And as John said, one of the great things about having a virtual event is that so many more people can attend. We've just crossed 700 people registered. I think it's going to be a terrific day. John, I know you need to meet up with our first panel to introduce them. So I'd like to let you go, and we'll see you in a few minutes at 12:10 British Standard Time.
Excellent. Thanks, Bruce.
Okay. What I'd like to do now is share my screen and walk through just a couple of quick things, some housekeeping matters. But let me say a quick thank you to some of the sponsors, to Kroll, the lead corporate sponsor of this event, and also to the other corporate sponsors, Ankara, CrowdStrike, Crypsis, Sard Verbinnen, and John Reed Stark Consulting. Also, we have many law firms. We have 11 world-class law firms involved, including Baker McKenzie, which is the lead law firm here today. When you look at this list of law firms, you're basically seeing the best firms in the world in this practice area. So thank you again to all these law firms for being involved in this first Europe-focused event. I'm here on the event summary page. This is the page where I think everybody kind of came in this morning. And I just wanted to walk you through a couple of quick things that you should be aware of. So there are CLE forms, continuing legal education, available in various United States jurisdictions. You can get to all of those forms here. They'll be posted at the end of the day. You can see all of the various sessions here. So, the first one is the welcome remarks we're in right now. The next one is managing the GDPR in just a moment. But you can click on anybody's name, get more information about them. There's also an evaluations button. So after a session, we'd welcome your feedback. You can write down your evaluation quickly or just give a quick notation of what you thought about it. There's a link here for One Big Thing video. So we asked our panelists if they were so inclined to give their what they consider to be a key takeaway, a particularly important thing to remember. And all of them are listed on this link here, but they'll be being shown throughout the day. So I encourage you to take a look at those if you'd like. Now, just a couple of quick items about the player that you're looking at as you watch the day today, because there's some functionality on here that might be interesting to you. So in this bottom right-hand corner, you can see there is basically a Twitter feed. I started off the Twitter storm by just putting a quick tweet on there earlier today. But if you'd like to tweet about today's panels, please use the hashtag IRF, standing for Incident Response Forum, IRF Europe, and it'll show here, and we can kind of have a running stream of interesting tweets. Up in the upper right-hand corner, you can see there is a place where you can take notes, and if you want to take notes about what you've heard today, at the end of the day, your notes will be sent to you by email, so it's kind of interesting function there. On the left side here, there's a chat window, and that has turned out to be a really interesting function that the prior virtual events we've done, I didn't really expect it to be as interactive, but you've got 700 people online, and a lot of you all will want to talk and share thoughts and ask questions of each other or make comments. You can do that in the chat. We're going to keep it clean and at least PG rated using the US movie ratings, but it should be a lot of fun. And then up at the top, you can keep track of the different sessions up here in the upper left-hand corner. Now, the last function I wanted to show you is this questions function at the bottom left. I don't have the window open there, but that's important. If you'd like to ask the panel a question, and we really do welcome and invite you to ask questions, it makes the session much more interesting. So if you have a question that you'd like the panel to answer, type it into that questions box. It'll come in. The moderators will be keeping an eye out for it. And so we encourage you to ask your questions. So let me stop sharing my screen here. And, basically that's it. This is supposed to be a day of discussion, a day of interaction between the panelists, between you all. We encourage all questions. And that's about it. So we appreciate everybody for joining us today. And we're going to get started with our first panel in just about 3 minutes. I'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you.